Welcome everyone. In this video, we are in the Great League Remix, showcasing another very powerful team featuring Guzzlord. Guzzlord, I had to bust it out. A lot of people have jumped on the Jelly bandwagon. A lot of Jellicent leads running rampant, and Guzzlord shuts that down. And speaking of Jellicent, I've not abandoned mine. I am now tucking it in the back as the safe swap here to protect our Guzzlord lead from the Poliwraths and all other counter users in the meta such as Vigoroth. And for that added layer of Poliwrath coverage, we've got Toxapex in the back. Adds a nice added layer of bulk to the team as well, while again also continuing to shut down the Poliwraths in the meta. Yeah, the Jelly Steelix core has shot to the moon, let's just say. So I had to stay ahead of the meta, guys. But here we go. Nightmare League Carbank, hello. And they've got a Poliwrath in the back. So far, Jelly's looking pretty good here. I think Jelly can absolutely cook up against what we see here. We've got a Poly, so they're core broken by Jellicent here. And this is a very dominant matchup, even if you run Bubble on Jellicent. I think Bubble is absolutely the way to go in this meta, for sure. It gives you so much stronger play up against Pokemon that take super effective, and the Bubble buff, the damage buff, is very much noticeable. But as you can see, we successfully baited. You have to take note, a lot of these Poliwrath trainers will shield, even 2 shield up against the Jelly. Not sure what they're trying to accomplish there, but it's just not, there's no hope. Poliwrath is not going to beat Jelly, and I think they do give it up there, as they do let the Surf go. And back in comes the Carbank here, and we are debuffed, but we are going to get in as much chip damage as possible. When you are faced against a Pokemon as bulky as Carbank, every little bit of damage you can get absolutely counts. And they don't want to take any more, so they're going to throw a move here. But we've got a second line of defense against the Carbank, guys. This is team building at its finest. Solid team building, I should say, at its finest. I thought ahead. I thought about Carbank, and we've got the answers in the back here, but they make a brilliant catch. Onto a Skarmory, holy smokes! Were they expecting to see Guzzlord? My goodness. 3 very hard checks to our Guzzlord, but we're going to put it here, of course. This is the best matchup remaining for our Guzz, and we are not going to shield anything. Our path to victory lies with our Toxapex here. I'm going to let all this go and use Guzzy as a damage sponge here. Let's try and get as much chip damage here in on the Skarmory. And it'll be interesting to see what they want to do. They should let this go, but they do not let it go. They shield and throw moves, so this is beautiful. The path to victory, very clear from here on out. We are going to actually resist and farm down this Skarmory. They're not making it to a move. We are also resisting their fast move pressure, and the Carbank has no shields and is very compromised on health. They top left. Good game. Yeah, I've been running this team for a couple of days now. The day after I posted my original Jelly Steelix core with Diggersby, I began running this team after. But here we go, Poliwrath. Not a good lead, so we safe swap actually into our Toxapex here, because a Poliwrath lead can often have a licky tongue in the back, and if you safe swap Jelly, which is generally the safe swap, you're in a world of hurt, you're in trouble. So you gotta kind of have to use your judgment on the Poliwrath leads. They generally do have a licky in the back. That is very possible. So I safe swap Toxapex to avoid the RPS there. And they meet us with this Clodsire, which we are playing out here in this mid-game matchup. As you can see, Toxapex, we all know, about as bulky as it gets. Tanks and EQ, no problem. And they are forced to throw energy, as Toxapex has been putting in quite a bit of work considering how bad of a matchup this is. Has gotten it below 50% health, and now we're going to bring in our Guzzlord, and they pivot into a Vigoroth. They're trying to draw our Jelly back out. We're not falling for that. We're going to stay in here and put the hope and faith in the Jelly. Just do as much damage as we can. These Dragon Tails with Stab absolutely chunk. We are running Brutal Swing. I think you can run either Brutal Swing or Crunch and do just fine. I prefer Brutal Swing at the Great League format just because Pokemon are less bulky here at this format, and I think getting to those Brutal Swings faster is a little bit more efficient at this CP. But we do shield up the Rock Slide, recognizing that as the hardest hitting move remaining, and in comes the Poliwrath to meet our Jellicent here. I don't think did I say draw back out the jelly? I don't think that we had revealed the jelly, but I digress. We are just going to play out this matchup, and it's looking pretty good here. There's not a whole lot Poliwrath can do. They can apply these debuffs, which is very annoying, but we're actually going to bait because I think that they are putting a lot of hope and faith into their own Poliwrath here. We did successfully bait with the Surf, and we're going to actually let this go, as I know that that Clodsire does have a little bit of residual energy. What we're going to do is bank this Shadow Ball, swap to clear the debuff, and get a little bit of chip damage in on this Poliwrath here. We're going to get farmed down, but we are still hanging on to a shield here. We did bank that Shadow Ball. It is in Shadow Ball range. Going to wait for them to throw. So we see that fast move come through. Wait a turn so that they cannot catch this. And because we're saying bye-bye to the Poliwrath, because we did that, and now it is smooth sailing from here, we will take out this Clodsire with a Surf. So that is how you have to dance around a very unfortunate team comp, but not impossible. Good game to them. So if you as well are seeing non-stop jelly leads, you might want to get ahead of the meta and stay ahead of the meta and give this team a try. But here we go. Charjabug. This is Guzzlord is our first and best line of defense up against the Charjabug. I usually play out the zeros. You won't win the zeros, but you will be getting the Charjabug within a manageable health range. So that's generally how I play it. But if you're making a hard team read, it's a team comp that you've been seeing a lot, and you see value in Guzzlord, you can give up a shield to control alignment. But generally, I just play out the zeros. They'll usually overfarm. They don't usually throw back to back like that. But that's okay. We're going to come in with our Toxapex. We've taken out the hardest answer to both of our two water types in the back. They've got a Whiscash as well as a Steelix here. And this is where Bubble Jelly comes in so clutch. Holy smokes. I've been seeing a lot of Steelix since I have featured it a few days ago. And I know that a lot of them are running Crunch to combat these ghost types such as Jelly, and we do successfully shield that. A lot of them are running Psychic Fangs Crunch, I just know. Never mind. We'll leave. We'll leave it at that. A lot of them are running Psychic Fangs Crunch. So we're actually going to shield this. It is a Psychic Fangs bait, but that is okay. They will not outpace us to another move. We're just going to play to a CMP tie here so that we don't get hit by another Psychic Fangs. And this will be more than enough to say bye-bye to the Steelix. And in comes the Whiscash. They don't have a ton of energy, so we are able to get to this Shadow Ball. Not the best timing, but I want to get the damage off. And now we will pivot into our Toxapex here. And hopefully either take out the Whiscash or get it on fractional HP, because the bubble buff, the damage buff to bubble, is generally enough to take out a low health Pokemon such as Whiscash. So Brine does not quite do as much damage as I'd like to see, but they're not going to be able to KO us with a Mud Bomb. We can tank multiple Mud Bombs and still hang in here, and they are forced to throw on CMP here, which means that they're energy dry. They're going to KO us, but the damage has been done. Toxapex has put in the work, and the buffed bubble damage comes in clutch yet again, allowing us to take out that Whiscash. That's going to be yet another good game. This team was putting in tremendous work in the Remix Cup, and here we go. Target acquired. Here we go. If you see a Jellicent, you can bet the house there's a Steelix in the back. Holy smokes. The Jelly Steelix core is at an all-time high in terms of usage. Justifiably so. It is very strong, but I've got to stay ahead of this meta here, my friends. And we bring in our own Bubble Jelly to meet this Steelix. That is what you'll want to be doing, of course, as Toxapex has very limited play. And again, you have to make the read that they are likely running Crunch. That seems to be the favorite moveset. I am quite partial to Earthquake. I think that is the best. Earthquake Psychic Fangs, I think, is the best moveset if you want to run Steelix. But a lot of them are running Crunch. Earthquake just comes in so clutch in the mirror. as well as up against Carbink. Do you really want to be losing to Carbink as a Steelix? I don't think so. That sounds like a miserable time, but I digress. We take out that Steelix, and they've got a Gligar in the back, so very similar to my original Jelly Steelix core with Diggersby, only this trainer is running Gligar in the back, which I have seen this variation floating around. I've also seen one with a Carbink in the place of Diggersby, and I've also seen one with a Guzzlord in the place of Diggersby. So again, the Jellicent Steelix core has taken off like wildfire ever since I featured it a few days ago. A very strong core, but we have to counter it here, and that is exactly what we're doing. We sacrifice the Toxapex as Guzzlord is the path to victory here. I don't think this will quite KO or come close to KOing, as this is a non-shadow. Would have been doing quite a bit more. Likely would have been able to take it out with a Dragon Tail. And we do shield up what we thought was a dig, but they make a very clutch bait. Good on them for that, but this is smooth sailing, my friends. Jellicent is absolutely helpless up against Guzzlord, which is why we're running it on this team here. And but you do have to keep in mind, Guzzlord quite bulky, but Shadow Balls, although resisted, they do have stab, and they really do chunk on Guzzlord. And I thought that Breaking Swipe had KO'd, so we are forced to hit this Dragon Claw on a CMP tie to take out the Jelly. Their Jelly was just a little too thick, but the Gligar's energy dry. We can Dragon Tail down, and as you can see, guys, I could have filled this entire video with teams like that, but I wanted to show you how to beat it. Good game to them. Yeah, I had been raving about my original Jelly Steelix core with Diggersby in my Discord for days before I even featured it here on the channel, but so it pays to be a part of the Discord. You can get the drops earlier than when you see them here on YouTube, but here we go. Nightmare Lead coming in the form of Vigoroth here, so we're going to save swap in Jelly, and again, this is where I really love Bubble on Jelly, particularly in this matchup. It is a lot more dominant for Jelly. It's pretty close with Hex, believe it or not, if you can imagine. But they're staying in, which means that, what, guys? What does that mean when they stay in? That means their core broken. There's likely a Poliwrath in the back. I've seen Vig paired with Poliwrath as of late. And we're happy to stay in here to take out this Vigoroth. It's bad news for our Guzzlord, of course. They can go Body Slam all they want. That's not going to cut it. And we're going to go for a Surf here. I think we can actually farm down, but I just wanted to guarantee that we would take it out. But they are putting up a fight, shielding their Vigoroth to control alignment on their end. That's just not going to happen. We're not letting that happen. They go down to a bubble. And they have wasted a shield in the process. And there's the Poliwrath, so the team read on point thus far. I'm not sure what the third could be, but I know Toxapex is coming in here on this Poliwrath. Holy smokes, they've got a Gligar. And they top left as they could not handle the onslaught from Jelly. They were triple weak to Jellicent. Good game to them. So yeah, I know we're at the tail end of this meta, but you can maybe hop on this team and rack up some wins while we still have it. But here we go. Abomasnow, this is going to be the most difficult obstacle to overcome. This is a massive core breaker for this team. But you have to stay in a little bit with your Guzzlord and really get that Dragon Tail damage in. You have to shield, of course, as especially a Shadow Abomasnow hits like an absolute truck. So we just want to get as much of that Dragon Tail damage in, and we safe swap the hardest counter to force the swap, but they meet us with a Jelly, so this is looking not so good. But I know Toxapex can put in a little bit of work up against the Jellicent. I know that mostly from the Halloween Cup, so those of you who played a lot of that will know this matchup quite well. And you should know that if you have a good enough Toxapex, you will very comfortably tank 2 Shadow Balls, which I do know for sure. And they are going to go for another Shadow Ball here, but I know we survived this no problem. But the bad part is that they do get a little bit of a farm down on us, or they will, after we get off this Sludge Wave here. And although resisted, the Sludge Wave with Stab actually gets the Jelly super low. That's the power of Toxapex. Don't want to get completely farmed down. We don't have alignment. Might as well rip off the Band-Aid, and they're throwing energy. That is even better. That's going to give that Abomasnow less farm here. And we do have a move to threaten this Abomasnow here. We really need to get rid of this thing or get it low. They're not having it. They're going to throw a move here on us, and of course, we're not shielding this. I don't know what the third could be, but it's definitely got to be something Jellicent has play against. So I'm calculating. I know we could survive a Powder Snow long enough to get a super effective Poison Jab in. That's going to help us with this resisted farm down, which is what we are going to fully commit to and have energy on the back end. Shadow Ball hits most things in this meta quite hard, and we are going to go for that resisted farm down after shielding their Shadow Energy Ball. And oh my gosh, it's a Ludicolo. I know exactly what this team is. Fellow content creator, one of my favorites, though technical, actually messed around and hit legend with a Ludicolo team here in the Remix Cup, so I can't even be mad. There's not a whole lot we can do. We have to throw this, but they do make the catch. It doesn't matter that they caught, because we would not have been able to farm down that Hex Jelly. We would have gotten farm down first. And yeah, shouts to the though technical Ludicolo to Legend team to ruin our fun for that matchup. A good game to them. So as you can see, this team, not without its weaknesses, but often prevails in the end, even up against bad teams, bad teams for it. But we've got a Dragalge here, so this is pretty good. Our Dragon Tails, I think, are doing a little more than theirs are to us, and they make a very, very clutch catch there. Good on them for that, but we're going to meet this with our Toxapex, because Toxapex wants nothing to do with the Dragalge. So, if you can imagine, it hard walls us like you wouldn't believe. So, this is the alignment here. And we are not looking to commit any shields. What we do want to do, though, is get a very healthy overfarm on this Vigoroth here. And we might actually shield just to ensure that we control alignment, because we are capped out. I don't want to be inefficient here, and we will throw the brine here. So no, we didn't shield. This is a different matchup. I was remembering a different matchup, but we don't end up shielding, so shields are still even. Back in comes the Dragalge, and because of our overfarm, we're able to get to the Sludge Wave, and again, resisted. It still absolutely puts in the work, forcing the Dragalge to throw energy. You absolutely love to see it. Toxapex, an absolute animal with that bulk. It is phenomenal, but they've got a Poliwrath in the back, and this is just about over. It's just going to come down to how much of a fight this trader wants to put up. At this point, there is no win con. There is no hope for them. But a lot of these Poliwrath trainers do hang on till the very end. So that is okay. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball, see what they want to do. We have been debuffed. They are shielding. So yeah. Yeah, they want to put up a fight, and that's okay. That is A-okay. We can just continue to play this out. We don't have to shield this. We are double resisting this fast move pressure at the end of the day. Although they did get another very clutch attack drop for them. Unfortunate for us. And we do bait them, seeing that they are trying to burn the clock. They're stalling here because they wanted to combo play. But it doesn't help them because we have shields. You can combo play all you want. That's not going to help. We're just going to swap with energy, clear the debuff in the process, and the Poliwrath throws energy. So, yeah, any way you slice it, there's nothing the Poliwrath can do. And we are about to show them so that they can see with their very eyes. This is non-debuffed, just about KOs, and a resisted bubble does the trick. Jellicent left with a shield to spare, one shield flexing on the Poliwrath to close. Good game to them. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I've been running this team for a couple of days now, and it has been putting in tremendous work. And here we go. Turtonator, holy smokes. Opponent bringing the absolute spice. You love to see it. They save swap a Clefable. And we are, of course, going to meet this with Toxapex. And you don't have to shield a thing from Clefable, if you can imagine. Not likely they're running Nerfed Psychic. That would put a damper on the plans. But yeah, they generally, if you do see one, this is the first and only Clefable I've seen in this meta. They will generally be running the conventional moveset, and you can farm it all the way down. So it'll be interesting to see what they come in with. They do come back in with the Turtonator. This is not a good matchup for Turtonator, as you can imagine. And we are going to go for a Sludge Wave here and see what they want to do. They do shield. Gonna try our best to make it to a second sludge wave, holy smokes. But they don't want to give up a shield or get hit by that heavy damage, so they are going to throw a move. To be fair, I didn't even know the moveset on Turtonator. That's the only one that I've seen. And they are running a double fairy backline. Respect and shouts to the opponent. Never to be confused with a disgusting double charm at backline. This is double fairy. I do respect that 100%. But it's a tricky fairy left remaining here, Core Breaker, for both Jellicent and our Guzzlord, of course. But we do successfully bait with a Surf, and now we are clear to go for the Shadow Ball here. And we know Shielded, now knowing the moveset. They are running Seed Bomb. I don't think you'll want to be running Seed Bomb if you run Fairy Wind on Whimsicott. I think if you run Charm, you can run Seed Bomb, but if you're running Fairy Wind, the Energy Gen is so good that you can run Grass Knot, and that's going to be the better move by a country mile, I would say. We do Dragon Tail down, and this is looking pretty good here. We are still holding on to a shield, a one shield advantage. Gonna go for this super effective Dragon Claw. Doesn't quite KO, so this thing has a little bit of bulk here, but not enough to withstand the Dragon Tails coming from our Guzzlord as they do go down. Shouts to the Spice. Good game to the opponent. Been having a blast with this team. A lot of bulk on this team as well. But here we go. Credilli. Very interesting to see. I've not seen very many of these in the Great League Remix, but I know it can put in work on up against certain teams. But we're going to stay right here. We want to avoid this with our Jelly, and they are forced to go straight Rock Slide in this matchup. The less energy efficient move, and we are going to go for a Brutal Swing here. That's generally what you'll be going for. Brutal Swing is going to be the better move, but they safe swap a Poliwrath. So seeing this is brilliant for our Jellicent. We can totally dodge that Credilli, but from a team reading perspective, there was a team that was running around in the Open Great League for quite some time that consisted of Credilli, Poliwrath, and Skeledirge. So I have a sneaking suspicion this trainer has brought their Open Great League team into the remix. The Poliwrath knows what's up. They did not try to put up too much of a fight because it was not going to happen for them. So they cut the losses. They let the Shadow Ball go. We farm down. They come in and throw immediately. So making the team read, I'm actually going to come in with Toxapex and get a nice farm down and have energy for what I believe to be a Skeledirge in the back. So that's the team read I'm making. We do shield there. We didn't really have to do that, but we might as well shield something. There's the Skeledirge there, so yeah, that's a bad shield there. We didn't have to shield that, but we're fine. We're absolutely fine. We draw the shield. We've got energy on our Guzzlord here. Gonna put the pressure on the flaming crocodile known as Skeledirge. They let it go, knowing that they can't. They've got to let something go. But I think they just gave up there. They didn't throw a move. So yeah, yep. We closed strong on that one as well. Good game to them. So yeah, if you have access to all three of these Pokemon, I would definitely recommend giving it a try. And if you don't have a Guzzlord, you can try Zweilous. Zweilous would be an excellent replacement, but here we go, Stunfisk. So a few things to keep in mind when you encounter this is I have encountered this particular team quite a bit over the past couple of days. Seems to be floating around, making the rounds in the Great League Remix. It's a Unova Stunfisk with a Skarmory and a Mantine in the back. So at this point in the day, with the battles, that's the team read I'm making because I had just been seeing quite a bit of it in previous battles. There's the Skarm there. They will safe swap the Skarmory, and you'll want to meet that with your Jellicent. Of course, Jellicent's going to be the best answer to Skarmory on this team, so glad to see it here. And I don't want Jellicent anywhere near a Mantine either, because when we're running Bubble, that matchup is not as good as it is with Hex. So this is perfect alignment for us. Glad they gave up Switch. We can get Jellicent onto the field, onto the Skarmory, and leave this matchup hopefully with energy and low health. This is just another Sky Attack. We're going to let this go. And they will struggle to farm down, and we're just going to load up as much as possible, not expecting a shield here. but gonna just get rid of the Skarmory because, yeah, those resisted steel wings were adding up. I think that was an attack-weighted Skarm if you look at the CP, likely a research encounter Skarmory. But there's the Mantine there, so the team read was on point, and you'll want your Toxapex on the Mantine, guys, of course. A ground type such as Unova Stunfisk is bad news for Toxapex. They aggressively pivot back into the Unova Stunfisk, had loaded energy, but we are okay to shield and farm down. I want to get some damage on that Mantine. I want to put the pressure on, because if we can get shields down or get some chip damage in, that's just going to be much better for Toxapex in the end game. And right here, I wanted to put even more pressure on, force them to dump the energy or take the damage. They elect to dump the energy, and now we're in a really good spot. We've got loaded energy on our Toxapex. Their energy dry. We are just a couple of poison jabs off from the sludge wave, and now their potential win con is to call a bait. We don't bait. We go against that win con, and that is about all she wrote. They had to call a bait there. They just weren't going to do enough damage to our very bulky Toxapex. So a good game to the opponent. And that is the team, my friends. So yeah, had to bust out old Guzzy Wuzzy to get ahead of all of the Jellicent leads we've been seeing. A lot of people have been looking to counter Jellicent as well with Pokemon such as Licky Tongue on the lead, and Guzzlord handles the counters to the Jellicent leads as well. Pretty decent into a Charjabug. So yeah, not only do we handle the Jellicent leads with Guzz, but we handle most of the counters to the Jellicent leads as well, which is generally a good indicator that your team will perform very well. And that it did do. So yeah, we paired it with two very strong answers to Poliwrath. You want optimal Poliwrath coverage if you're going to run something such as Guzzlord, and we landed on Toxapex as the third, just for an added layer of Carbink coverage as well, because Carbink is making a resurgence as well in the meta. So you put all that together, you got a very strong ABB style team to rack up some wins while we still have the Remix Cup available. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.